Hi, my name is Jan Flaaten, and I want to tell a story in honor of Earth Day 2020. There are times when an unexpected journey changes you. Sometimes it changes you forever. And this is a story that tells something that happened to me. Uh, I was quite sure I shouldn't go, but somehow my friends talked me into it. And so in the summer of 1971, we piled into a car and my friends and I drove up to the north shore of Lake Superior, then to Grand Marais, then the 55 miles to the end of the Gunflint Trail. Now, I was planning to work in a bookstore that summer. I love books. I like the stories they tell. I like the thoughts that they contain. But there I was, the end of the Gunflint Trail, standing at the shores of Seagull Lake, ready to be trained as a canoe guide, taking unsuspecting high school kids out into the wilderness where sometimes you wouldn't see anybody for 5 or 6 days. Now, keep in mind, I had never been canoeing and I had never been camping. So, obviously, I needed to be trained. So the first 2 weeks were training, and boy, did I need it. And to finish the training, we all had to go on a guide trip. So all the guides went out on a trip. And we had to learn. We had to learn how to paddle the canoe. We had to learn how to portage the canoe. We had to learn how to set up a tent or start a fire to get some food going, or how to cook that freeze-dried food. Well, and of course, on the first day that we were out, the wind was blowing, and it was blowing against you. And if you know anything about canoeing, you know that if the wind's blowing against you, if you don't keep paddling, you're going to go backwards. So we had to paddle, and we had to paddle hard. And then, of course, the sun was shining, and there was no time to put on the sunscreen. So when we finally reached the other shore, I was red from sunburned, and of course you get a little bit sick to your stomach when that happens. And I said to myself, what am I doing here? Well, we kept on. It was too late to turn back, so we kept on this training trip with all the other guides. The water was cold. It was really cold. The black flies were starting to come out, and they were biting you. And the portages were getting longer, and they were getting harder. And I still shook my head and I said, what am I doing here? Then on the second to the last day of our orientation trip for the guides, we woke up to a sight that left me in wonder. We had camped on the shores of Lake Saginaw, which is this really big lake on the border between Canada and Minnesota. And we started canoeing early before breakfast. And it was perfectly still. The lake was known for always having some kind of large waves to it, but it was perfectly still. It was a mirror. And all you could hear was the gentle splash of the paddles going into the water and the haunting sounds of the loons off in the distance. I would say that that was the moment that changed me forever with regard to my relating to nature. Because it didn't make any difference what happened the rest of the summer, no matter how many black flies, no matter how many mosquitoes bit me, no matter how many weird things happened with the high school kids that I took out. That was a defining moment for me. And I will never forget that. And it opened me up to the wonders and the beauty and all that I could learn from nature. So sometimes we have to go to those uncomfortable and foreign places in order to be transformed into something new, who appreciates a different way of looking. Thank you.